This is surface area of prisms and cylinders. We're just taking 2 today, and then we're going to go surface area of pyramids and cones on Friday with 12.3. So right now we're looking at prisms and cylinders. And a cylinder, like I said yesterday, a cylinder is pretty much a prism, but with circle bases. So the formulas are really the same. It's just always the same shape of a circle whenever you have a cylinder. So if we have lateral area is just the area of the sides. It does not include the bases. It's just the sides, the area of the sides. No bases, just sides. And so the lateral area equals the height of the prism or cylinder multiplied by the perimeter of a base. Okay? So the height is the height of the prism. It's what connects the two bases together. And my analogy on lateral area is like, well, I mean, this is for a cylinder, but same thing. If you had a label on like a can of soup, that label would be the lateral area of the can. It would not include the top and the bottom because there's not a label there. Whereas the total surface area is going to be like wrapping a present or a gift. So if you wrap a gift, then you're going to cover all sides. You're the top, the bottom, and the sides. So surface area is covering everything. Or I like to say total surface area, but it's just surface area. And it's sides and bases. So you would take the lateral area and add the area of the two bases. So it's written 2 different ways. Here is what it looks like on the formula sheet that I'll have for you on Friday. Surface area is the height times the perimeter, which is lateral area, plus the area of the two bases. Or if you've already solved for lateral area, it's a 2-part question, and you ask for the surface area, then you take what you got for your answer, lateral area, and then add the area of the two bases. So the area of the base, the formula you use, depends on the shape of the base, right? Not all shapes have the same formula. This one is an example is a triangle. So if I wanted the area of the base for this example, I would use 1/2 of base times height, and that would be the area of the base. If this was a rectangle, it would be base times height. If it was a regular polygon, it would be 1/2 of the apothem times the perimeter. So that's why it's just the capital letter B for area of the base. All right. So here I just have 3 examples. First, we're going to find the lateral area and then the total surface area. So to find the lateral area is the perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. When I get a paper, like when I made the answer key for today's assignment, and I get to a problem, the first thing I'm going to do is take my pencil and I'm going to shade the base, because you need to identify the bases, and sometimes it's kind of tricky. You're going to have 2 bases for a prism. So if you know you have a prism, identify the 2 bases. In this one, I have a triangle here. And it's also a lot easier when your base is not a rectangle. When your base is a rectangle, it's a little tricky, I'm not going to lie. But when it's not a triangle, it makes it a lot easier because you can identify where they are. When it's not a rectangle. All right, so there's the 2 bases. And then I see the 3 rectangles are the sides. Those are the lateral sides. So that's what I'm trying to find the area of. All right, so the perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. So if I look at the height of the prism, it's what connects the bases together. So this is the height of the prism, 10. So H equals 10. And I need the perimeter of the base. So this side is 4. a 4. This side is 3, so plus 3. And then I need this side here. I also see this as a right triangle, so that means this triangle is a right triangle. And if you remember your Pythagorean triples, this one comes in handy. When the legs of a right triangle are 3 and 4, that means the hypotenuse has to be 5. It's a 3, 4, 5 Pythagorean triple. If you didn't recognize that, you could use Pythagorean theorem to solve, and you would find out that the answer, the long side, is 5. The other side also says 5. Oh, good point. I didn't notice that. It does say 5 right there. Well, or you could just pay attention to your problem. So 3 plus 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. So my perimeter is 12. My height is 10. So the lateral area is 12 times 10. So it is 120. And these are centimeters. And area is squared. So the lateral area is 120 centimeters squared. Actually, I need to write that over here so I have more room. All right, so once I find the lateral area, then I can find the total surface area. And the surface area is the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. All right, so I already know the lateral area. I just solved that right there, so I'm just going to plug it in. So I had the surface area equals 120 plus 2 times the area of the base. So I need to know what is B, the area of the base. This formula depends on the shape of the base. I have a triangle, so that's 1/2 base times height. So it's 1/2 of 3 times 4. So this height is not the same as the height of the prism. This is, once we're at the area of the base, we're only looking at that base, that triangle. So then base and height are perpendicular to each other, so it doesn't matter which one's which, 3 and 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Half of 12 is 6. So the area of the base is 6. So then the surface area is 120 plus 2 times 6, so plus 12. So the surface area is 132. These are centimeters, and it's squared because it's area. So again, once you find the lateral area and you're asked for the surface area, all you have to do is take the lateral area and then add the area of the bases. There's 2 bases for a prism, so it's 2 times the area of the base. All right, so then number 2 says, what is the height of a rectangular prism with a base perimeter of 13 feet and a lateral surface area of 78 feet squared? All right, so we're asked to find what is the height of a rectangle. Oops, I just wanted what is the height. What is the height? So that means I'm solving for h. We have a rectangular prism. All right, so if it's a rectangular prism, you have an idea what prism, we know what formula we're going to use. The base perimeter, P, is 13. So that's P is 13. And a lateral surface area of 78 feet squared. So lateral area equals 78. I don't know what h is. So I have LPH. So if I use my lateral area formula, it can be h times p or p times h. I write it, but I go back and forth. So it doesn't really matter. I have the lateral area as 78. I don't know what h is, but that's what I'm looking for. And I do know what P is. P is 13. I filled in everything but one letter, so that's what I'm solving for. If I divide by 13, now h is by itself. The height, 78 divided by 13 is 6. And then go back to the problem. I'm dealing with feet. Since it's height is a linear measurement, it's just 6 feet, not 6 feet squared. So something like that, identify the pieces you have, plug it into the formula, and then isolate whichever letter you don't have a number for. I have one more example of a prism. We do lateral area and total surface area of this hexagonal, or no, pentagonal or pentagonal. You can say either way. We want the lateral area. Lateral area is the height times the perimeter. So if we identify the base first, that's a base. It's easy. Like I said, it's easy whenever you don't have a rectangle for a base. When you have a rectangle for a base, you have two rectangles that are the bases and 4 rectangles that are the sides. But they're not going to have the same dimensions. So you want to identify which 2 match, and then, but there's only 2 of them, and that's the base. So here's the other base. All right, so there's the bases, and then it makes the 11 stand out more clearly, that the 11 is the height of the prism. So h equals 11. And then I want to find the perimeter. Perimeter of a base. So if one side it has a length of 6, and it's a regular pentagon. There's 5 sides, so it's 6 times the 5 sides is 30. So that means the lateral surface area is 11 times 30. So it is 330 feet squared. And then surface area is going to be the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. Well, we know the lateral area. That's right. It's 330. So I'm just going to plug that in. So the surface area equals 330 plus 2 times the area of the base. All right, so to solve for the area of the base, first you have to figure out which formula you're going to use. That is a pentagon. It's a regular pentagon. So the area for a regular pentagon is 1/2 of the apothem times the perimeter. Well, luckily for us, we've already solved for the perimeter. That's the same thing. It's right here. It didn't change. It's the same. So that's 30. So the base equals 1/2 of A times 30. So we need to figure out what is A. And A is the apothem. An apothem is perpendicular to a side. Do we know what the apothem is? Yeah, right here. Here's a side. And this segment is perpendicular to the side. So this value 4.1, that's the A, the apothem. So times 30. So the area of the base, 1/2 of 30 is 15. 15 times 4.1 is 61.5. So the area of the base is 61.5. So then the surface area is 330 plus 2 times 61.5. You can type all of that in your calculator just the way it looks. So the surface area is 453 feet squared. And one of those quick self-checks, will your surface area ever be larger than your lateral area? No, never. Because lateral area is just the sides. So if you're going to do area of more than just the sides, then value cannot be less. It has to also be more because we're adding to it. So if you do a problem and you end up with that, the total surface area is less than the lateral area, one of them is wrong. Maybe both are wrong. Okay, so that is prisms. On the back, we have cylinders. And I only have one example of cylinders because, like I said, a cylinder is just a special prism. It's a prism whose base is always a circle, but the formula is the same. It looks different, but really it's the same. So the lateral area is 2 pi RH. The perimeter of a circle is 2 pi r. 2 pi r is the circumference of the base. Circumference is that special word for a circle that means perimeter of a circle. So it's the perimeter times the height. So it's the same thing. So 2 pi RH, you just need to fill in the radius and the height of the cylinder. And then total surface area works the same way. For the total surface area, it's 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. So it's the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. Since the base is always a circle, the formula for the area of the base is always pi r squared. So again, if you know what r is and you know what h is, you can just plug in another r right there and square it. And that will give you the total surface area. All right, so find the lateral and total surface area of the cylinder. Oh, I don't want to keep it in terms of pi. We're going to round to the tenths. We did that last unit. I like rounding to the tenths. That's a good place to go. However, when you do lateral area, if you're doing both, you do need it in terms of pi to calculate surface area. All right, so starting with lateral area, it is 2 pi RH. I know that the base is the circle. When I shade it like that, I can see clearly that this 7 is my height because it's what connects the bases. So I'm going to make that a 7. And the radius, well, I have a 12 here, but is that 12 the radius? No. 12 is the diameter because it goes all the way across. So the radius halfway across is 6. So make sure you don't use the diameter. You're using the radius. 6 here. And then lateral area equals 2 pi. 2 pi times 6 times 7. 6 times 7 times 2 gives me 84. So I am going to write this as 84 pi. So the lateral area is 84 pi. The reason I'm doing that is because you need an exact value when you plug it into the surface area. So I'm going to write it this way just for use in surface area. I'm going to write my answer for lateral area. If that's all you need, then just go ahead and give me the decimal, 263. It was 263.8938. So I'm going to round that to 263.9. And these are kilometers squared. So that is a huge, huge cylinder. It's 7 kilometers high. That's really big. That's the lateral area, just the sides. So like if I was putting a label around that cylinder, it would need to be 263.9 square kilometers of paper or whatever I'm using. So then the total surface area is going to be the lateral area plus 2 pi r squared. Luckily for us, we've already solved for the lateral area, and I'm going to write it in terms of pi. So that's why I wrote it this way. 84 pi. Plus 2 is a constant, pi is a constant. The radius squared. I know the radius. I've already figured that out at 6. I could type it in just like that, or if you want, this is 6 squared is 36. 36 times 2, 72. So 84 pi plus 72 pi. Or you can just type the whole thing in your calculator. And you'll get 490.1. And these are kilometers squared. All right, so again, it works the same as with a prism. It's just your base is always a circle. And then at the bottom, we've already done this, but I feel like it needs to be addressed again. Effects of changing all the dimensions. If all the dimensions are multiplied by a value, in this case I'm saying a, then all the areas are multiplied by a squared, because the dimensions are linear dimensions. And the area is squared. The units are squared. So if the radius and the height, so it's very important that if both of them of a cylinder are tripled, so times 3, then the lateral area, now we're talking about area, is going to be multiplied by what? Well, if we took 3, and since area is squared, and we square it, that would be 9. So then we would be multiplying the area by 9. And then also the surface area would be multiplied by 9 because it's also an area. The base area, since it's an area, it would be multiplied by 9. Any area, anything that is squared units will be multiplied by the value squared. And the reason is, like if I say the radius times 3, and then the height times 3, well that's, let me do that here, it's tripled. So 3 times 3, that would be times 9, right? That's why you're squaring it. Or here, I'll do it this way. 3 meters times 3 meters is going to give me 9 meters squared. Make sense? But both dimensions have to be changed in order for it to be squared. Otherwise, it's just multiplied by that number.